Vou falar em português, estava aqui indeciso, mas como sei que a tradução está a funcionar, posso falar em português, ok? Portanto, agora já estamos energizados suficientemente para ouvir a última intervenção desta manhã, que vai ser dada pela Ellen, desculpem, Denise de Seis. Tenho um bocadinho de dificuldade em pronunciar este apelido. A Denise, que eu tive a oportunidade de conhecer em 2012 no encontro do Revolucionário Portugal, está ligada a uma ONG, que é a Amurtel, na Roménia. Portanto, vamos agora ouvir falar de um modelo num outro contexto cultural diferente. A Denise tem desenvolvido este projeto já há alguns anos, desde 2005, e em 2012 desenvolveu este outro projeto integrado no mesmo contexto, que se chama a Motel Social Garden. E é exatamente sobre esse projeto que a Denise nos vem falar.
Bom dia. You brought us to the live. Like this?
Yeah, more close.
Can you hear me? Now can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to introduce our community-supported agriculture initiative in Romania. Prout has this model called Master Unit, which is a practical way of implementing Prout principles, but from the grassroots, from the bottom up. The mission of our NGO, Amortel, is to create inclusive programs for the economic and holistic development of children, young adults, and parents at risk of social exclusion. These are our main projects that we have. We have a children's home called Familia Amortel. We have this Vistara social integration program for the period when the children have become young adults and then are transitioning out of the care center and into society. And Sunrise Kindergartens are vegetarian kindergartens with inclusive education, where we work with integrating children with disabilities into mainstream curriculum, and we use the principles of neo-humanism, which are also principles that guide Prout. We also have the Fountain of Hope After School Center, where we have 65 kids that come and get free hot meals and help with their homework. And we have this project that I'm introducing now is one of our more recent projects. We started it already last agricultural season. This is the second season that we're doing it. It's called the Amortel Social Garden Mass Unit. It's a social enterprise for the inclusion in work of these young adults who are leaving the care center and who need an opportunity to transition into the open job market. Yeah, as I mentioned, Master Units is one of the key ways for implementing Prout from the bottom up, the model for sustainable community development. You might recognize that person's picture. So Rakesh came last year and did a permaculture training for us. I like this picture because it was a web of life exercise, but it's showing how everything's interconnected. And Master Units are helping to create these types of interconnections between people and to be a source of inspiration and innovation in communities, and to help create a different vision for communities. So it's located in Buzău County, which is in the Sahel. It's very, still a very economically disadvantaged zone of Romania. There's been a lot of development that you can see in the urban centers, but the rural areas still remain very and what we see happening a lot is that many small farmers aren't even producing except for their own families because there's no market. They cannot compete with the bigger producers that come in since it's joined the EU. And so many farmers are feeling very demoralized and it's a subsistence farming economy in the rural communities. So we took this community-supported agriculture model. Have you heard of this model before? It's a new word. Some of you have probably heard of it, I think. It means that you have a group of consumers in an urban area that sign up for a whole year. They create a partnership with a small producer. Usually this producer is just a farmer. In this case, the model was, we slightly adapted the model because we're not just a farmer, we're an NGO. So it has some unique characteristics, and it was called a social garden because we also included this work integration goals to it. So ASAT is, in Romania, the organization that is promoting community-supported agriculture partnerships. It's a network that was formed in 2008, and there's already 7 cities that have such partnerships going. And in Bucharest, for example, there's 2 producers in the ASAT partnership, us and another one. And Amortel was the first social garden, so adapting this model to an NGO that's working on work integration, creating jobs. These are the characteristics. Together with ASAT, we came up with this definition of social garden, so that our goal was also, by creating this model, that it could be used by other NGOs and other people that are working on work integration. So this was the definition that we came up with. It has to have the economic agricultural production is performed by an NGO or a company whose single shareholder is an NGO. And at least 25% of those involved in the economic activity have to be people in need, either direct beneficiaries of the organization or disadvantaged people from the local community. And it's a legal activity that's intended to create a decent income for the farmers. Income that is derived from business, products, meaning vegetables and fruits, and also any money that would come is to be used for investments and to support the social mission of the NGO. These are the goals of our master unit and our social garden. So to offer high quality organic vegetables at an equitable price to consumers, because many of you know the organic vegetable market starts to become very much a thing only for the elite. So we wanted to also to increase the accessibility of good quality organic vegetables to consumers, and respecting traditional agricultural methods. Again, you know, a lot of traditional agricultural methods in Romania are starting to disappear. So this type of partnerships encourage farmers to be able to use techniques that are not just monocultural, that are using a variety of crops and more sustainable for the earth. It's also to create a fair market for small producers. Already when I've been to other local farmers in the area, they immediately are they understand the beauty of it, this idea that they could sell their products directly to consumers at a much better price than they could if they sell it through the piazza or to, you know, different intermediaries. Providing food and income for our social programs. This was actually the main motivator why we did this, because we, as an NGO, we had been dependent on donations from outside of Romania, and this situation is changing because more and more, because of economic crisis, we've had less sponsors for our programs, and we need to be able to create more local sustainability projects. We wanted to be able to produce our own food, but it was expensive to do this, to hire someone to come and produce food for us, and it ended up costing more than buying it in the markets. So for some years, they had stopped actually producing food on that land. So when I heard this CSA model, I thought this could be a way to do it that would be low risk for us. We could have a way to cover the salaries first and create jobs. And then creating professional job opportunities for the young people from our program. Insertion opportunities means, sometimes people can't go directly into the job market. Our kids, because these were kids that were abandoned during communist time. And so these are kids that grew up with incredible amount of neglect and abuse. And so they have usually very severe emotional problems, which makes it, all the insecurity makes it difficult for them to be competitive on a job market that's already very competitive. And so many of them we found were not able to hold a job more than 10 days, and they kept coming back. to us, and so we felt that we would be able to help them better if we could hire them, so they're not just feeling useless, so we could get to do and improve their ability to work in a team and to work, to feel more confident in themselves. And this has really helped them. We've seen that the ones that have had those opportunities, then after maybe a year or two of working in a more protected situation, they're much more confident to go out and work in society. So this was one of our vegetable baskets. We have 35 consumers in Bucharest. And in the first year, we had 22 consumers, but we had a drought in the middle of the season. Anyway, the first year we did a lot of things wrong. I'm going to tell the story of our whole, the evolution of the project in the afternoon workshop, and also we'll have a discussion about how those of you that might be interested in community-supported agriculture initiatives to create them here in Portugal, or to work in collaboration with the master unit that is, I understand, starting to evolve here in Portugal. We'll have a discussion about that. But so not all of those 22 consumers received baskets the entire season. We had some of them that went on to suspension because we didn't have enough vegetables at a certain point. But even despite that, that picture is from the first year, and we produced about 1 vegetables in the first year. Now, in this year, we have 35 consumers. We have delivered, I think, only one. The first delivery we weren't able to do because there was Rakesh. There was a lot of snow in March, at the end of March, which really delayed our production. And it was so cold in our permaculture design course. And so, despite that, we have had a successful season this year. We've kept most of our consumers throughout the whole season, and we have about a total of 5 tons of fruits and vegetables that we delivered this year. So significant improvements. And on the social inclusion side, in the first year we had a main farmer who was actually, he grew up in children's homes that Amort runs. We have Amort and Amortel. The Amortel is with female empowerment through female management. So, but Amort is kind of doing similar projects, also had a children's home. He was somebody who was older. He came and started out as a volunteer and ended up working with us for the whole season. So without him, it wasn't possible. And we also had another of our young people from the Vistar program was his assistant. He did a lot more of sleeping until 11 o'clock in the mornings than he did work. He should have opportunities. But it was difficult. We realized we needed to rethink about how to integrate them successfully into the project. So in this year, we actually hired 2 women that had never had a job before from the local community. But they had some experience with their own gardens. They had been working in their own gardens ever since they could remember. So, and then with having those people to provide kind of the stability to the project, we then hired our Vistar young people on harvest days. And this way, 6 of them gained work experience. Every time we had a harvest, they came and they were paid, and so they got more motivated because it was more direct. They didn't have to wait for a month to get some, payment or anything for it. And some of these were younger teenagers, like 16, 17, and they were also extremely excited to go with our driver to Bucharest every week. At least one of them would get that privilege. This girl here is actually over 18. She's with mental health, and she also came and helped on the farm. And she's a very hard worker, very hard worker. So these were our target groups to have economically disadvantaged rural women that haven't been working, and the young people leaving the care system, and young adults with disabilities from the care system. We're starting out, of course, with our own kids, but we are planning to become a transitional project for other young people in difficulty, where they can come and get life skills and then also get job skills. So this is where we're heading. So even though we're starting out with a group of kids that are growing up and hopefully leaving and becoming independent, we will see that we're setting up a structure that will be able to help more kids coming from, there's still these big state institutions that have hundreds of kids, and they don't ever learn how to wash a pot or clothes because it's an institution. So they really need more projects that can give them life skills and help them to integrate better. And the whole project started due to the help of an agronomist studying now he did his master thesis last year on our project PhD. But he was really essential. He's given a lot of the guidance to our youth and our workers, and he did, when he did his thesis, he did on specific companion planting associations, and he's just been guiding the entire project. And we also really want the project. One of the functions of a master unit is to be educational and to provide innovative techniques to the community. So we've been developing the educational component in partnership with permaculture people. And so we've had, Rakesh was our first PDC that we had done. We did this in March. Won't do it in March again, just do it in April. And we also organized other organic farming together with our agronomist and a professor from the University of Agronomy. And we've created already some connections with the University of Agronomy. And they're very interested in what we're doing. So, and slowly we're managing, we did, when Rakesh came, we did something in the local community for local people. It was very difficult to get people to come, but we did get a local agronomist who's specialist in medicinal herbs, and he's starting to get interested in collaborating with the project. So this is some of our results from this year. In the first, we already reached our break-even point last year. The first year, we didn't lose money on the project. Basically, we were able to at least cover costs. Our business plan was awarded within the Prometheus program, which was funded from the post-RU funds. It was a program for training NGO workers in social economy. So I benefited from that program. I got to go on an exchange visit where I met Julia in Trento and was very impressed with the Trento model of cooperation. And we also have a partnership with Eco Shopping. Our agronomist started his business, Eco Shopping, where we've been growing some of the specialty items. You can see in the picture there, Swiss chard and also kale were two vegetables that I asked him, please, can we grow this because I like it. It's popular in America, not so known in Romania, but we've been popularizing it in Romania. Now we sell all of it. We sold it all season. It's really good. And we've also developed a lot of planning instruments because we worked with these consultants and experts. So everything that we're doing, we're creating very complex tables for, actually it's not an easy thing to do. It's complicated than other types of agriculture because you have to have a full basket of vegetables and not a boring basket. You can't just be one type of vegetables. You have to have a variety of vegetables every week for the whole growing season. So it's a big challenge because it means you have to plan very carefully when you plant things so that they're not all ready at the same time. And so this whole planning process, requires a lot of, we developed a lot of special instruments for this. So we're very interested to share. This was our infrastructure. Last year we had created that well when we had a drought. It turned out though that in the spring when we went to go and analyze, we got a grant for installing a new irrigation system, and we found that in our first well that we constructed off of the property a little bit, they'd already stolen the cable for the electricity that we had dug underground. So anyway, we decided to deepen the well that was already existing behind the house. We found water, and we had enough water for our whole irrigation system. And so we installed a drip irrigation system on the whole property, and we already last year had made 2 greenhouses. This year we got, from the prize that we got from the Prometheus program, we were able to build another greenhouse, and now we have 750 square meters of greenhouse, which means that we have salad. Now, last week we delivered for the first time salad, and everybody was so happy. All of our consumers were like, wow, springtime already. So we have created these, our social results are that we created these jobs for these 2 local women. We were so proud of them. They came to Bucharest last week to meet with the consumers. The consumers were able to thank them personally and to get feedback, and they really felt very good. And 6 of our kids got this job experience and were motivated. This was a big difference. They were actually motivated. We didn't just have to constantly stand behind them. They were actually like, can I work this week? Because I want to go to discount. Can I work? And we had 40 people total that have been trained in our different programs that we've done on organic agriculture. And the developments were this irrigation system that was installed, and the increase in the number of jobs and the number of consumers, and that we involved eco shopping formally in the whole operation. The sustainability of the project is that it creates, you do have a stable market. It's not a way that you're going to get really rich from this type of activity, because together with the clients, you calculate your costs and then share the costs with the clients. So it does give a stable income for farmers, which is essential in agriculture, and attractive to some farmers. And then on top of that, you can do some special vegetables like we're doing with kale and Swiss chard to create some extra income. And the model can be expanded. Yeah, so what we're looking at now is expanding it to something called a multi-farm CSA. I've been looking for models of this, and I found a few in Australia and some in the US, where you actually create a type of cooperation. I'm still not sure what type of legal form it will take. I've been asking different consultations from different experts, but it might be as an association of small producers, or the problem with cooperative in Romania is that the law only allows physical people to enter into the cooperative. So if we as an entity want to be part of the cooperative, it's a bit of a problem. So we have to see how we can do that. But already our partner Amor started their own garden this year together with the kids that they help. They help people who are getting off of the streets to integrate. They do an integration program for the homeless. And so they successfully ate all of their vegetables from the garden, and we're very happy. So this year we're going to, we thought instead of them having the burden, we know how difficult it is to come up with a vegetable basket every week. So we suggested to them that they enter in partnership with us, and that we will make a plan in which certain vegetables they will provide. And we also are doing this with another local farmer who is a volunteer, helped us construct all of our greenhouses, and has been very involved in making it a success. And we will also have some of the vegetables from him. So in this way, we will be able to offer more stability to our clients. They don't have to just be in solidarity with us when we have a problem with some of our vegetables, which is what you have to do otherwise. Just ask them to be patient and try substituting. Like, for example, our salad all went to seed, so they didn't have salad in the springtime. We gave them Swiss chard and kale, and they were like, what's this? So not everybody appreciated that. Yeah, we hope that this will be more ability for the clients, and eventually it will allow us to scale up. Because if we are able to then involve more local people as producers for the CSA, we can also expand the number of clients that we serve in Bucharest. When we did the original meeting with clients at the Museum of the Romanian Peasant in the middle of Bucharest, we had immediately 35 clients on that day. And we also had some clients from the American Embassy. And the same, in the American Embassy, they're like, well, we have about 35 people that would want to join. Like, it wasn't a question that we had to limit how many we felt we could comfortably serve. There's a demand for more. So we hope that this will give a chance to help develop the local rural economy in the area, and to create a fair market for other farmers. And our other development plans are to work with this man, Domnul Ungureanu, who is an agronomist from Loc, an expert in medicinal plants, and makes wonderful teas. And we want to involve him in our, as one of our producers, and to make detoxification programs that are as a way to popularize clean living and like this. We also have applied for funding for a processing line to be able to process jams and other types of products. And that again would create more jobs and be able to create more economic activity for the local community. And we would like to increase educational programs. We also applied for a fund which would help us do, we would do a rather complex type of community organizing together with a partner who's a specialist in this, going to gather farmers together and help them to come to the ideas about cooperation. And we would do an experimental garden with the local high school, where we would help the high school to create a greenhouse, and then the high school students would be stimulated to make their land and to see that agricultural activity can be, you can make money from it, because we would sell their products also to our clients. So this would, we are hoping, would help the newer generation to have hope that agriculture, they don't just have to leave and go to Italy and to Spain and to go to the big city to find work, We would like, because many people would rather remain, in where they grew up, if they could. But the reality is, young people are leaving because they don't feel there's any future in Romania, and anything, even if they'll miss home, they feel like it's better than not having a future. Okay, that was it.
Ok, portanto vamos abrir agora o espaço de debate. No entanto, peço a vossa compreensão, vamos ter que o reduzir porque estamos já bastante para lá da hora, portanto vamos ter 10 minutos. Agradecia realmente que as perguntas fossem o mais precisas possível e também pedia aos intervenientes para nas respostas serem o mais possíveis, mas relembro que na parte da tarde vai haver oportunidade para discutir um pouco mais algumas das questões levantadas nos dois painéis, além de a Denise vai estar a mediar, a moderar um workshop sobre estas questões da parte da tarde. Perguntas?
Just a very quick question. I think your project is extremely challenging, but I would like to understand how the local community perceive your initiative.
They're curious. They're definitely curious. They're getting more curious because by involving these women, they're already understanding the model better. And in villages, you can't hear the. Now you can. Okay. So in villages, the way that people get to know about things is word of mouth through their friends. And when we tried making posters for Rakesh's talk, almost nobody came. Only through our friends people came. So, but we do feel that people are. When I talk to farmers, I have two in particular that I've told about you in detail, and they are very, very curious. They're very interested. They immediately want to be involved. Actually. So it hasn't. We haven't done anything yet wider to really attract more people. But like even the lady who was listening to, we had the cleaner from the high school. She was a bit resentful that she had to stay late while we were doing this talk with Rakesh. But then she got just like a magnet, attracted, and she started listening. And she got really, really inspired by it. And she came when we said there would be an open day for the community. She actually came and was saying, I want to volunteer, which is unusual. In Romania, even the idea of volunteering is almost unheard of, But she was like, please call me when you want to do something. I want to see how to do this. So there is, it's coming, but it's slow. I hope that we get that fund so that we can do more, do some more community development work in an active way.
Olá, bom dia, meu nome é Bruno. I'm going to speak in English because my question for Denise. How do you make the products get to the consumers? I didn't quite understand that part of the distribution. You cut them, they come to you. And, sorry, another question para ajudar, que é depois do vosso evento, o que é que ficou na comunidade que, como semente que depois se autonomizou como movimento ou como projeto, ou que possa ser futuramente reagrupado para um evento desse género ou para uma outra iniciativa? O que é que ficou na comunidade desse vosso projeto?
Thank you for asking that, because I didn't mention that. The system is that we have once a week, we deliver the vegetables to Brest, and we have 3 delivery points there. 2 of them are our properties. One is our kindergarten, the other one is our holistic center, and then we also have a tea shop in the middle of the town that collaborated with us and let clients come there to pick up their baskets. This way, it's minimizing the transportation costs involved. And the idea was to build community, that people meet each other, that they meet us, and our volunteers to talk about the progress of the farm.
Desde sempre, o evento em si não era para ser tratado como objetivo final. No fundo, para ser muito sincero, o evento era uma desculpa. começar uma mudança. E houve vários projetos que começaram durante a preparação e, entretanto, o viver aconteceu. E o projeto, nós fizemos uma coisa que foi fizemos um sonho, sonhámos, e depois utilizámos uma técnica que se chama backcasting, que é uma coisa que se planifica do fim para o princípio, e nós fizemos no espaço de um ano, logo à partida, logo no princípio, portanto, o evento ao meio. O que é que ficou? Ficaram projetos a começar, alguns a continuar. Houve agora, nós temos uma casa que vamos modificar, que vamos alterar, temos um carro e temos estado a trabalhar numa coisa que se chama um não manifesto, que não gostamos de manifesto, então fazemos um não manifesto, em que nós temos regras que não são regras, que são coisas para inspirar, só não é coisas proibidas, em que a comunidade, mais uma vez, o grupo se reuniu para pensar o que a Casa da Ajudar seria, para o que seria. Esta Casa da Ajudar vai ser uma plataforma comunitária de catalisação de coisas de comunidade. Pode ser o mundo inteiro, pode nascer, nunca se sabe.
Sim, há um conjunto de associações que não têm casa, por exemplo. Não têm teto, não têm princípio de reunir, estão dependentes de outras infraestruturas. Nós fizemos este meu manifesto, onde é uma carta de princípios, onde queremos desenvolver esta ideia da economia da data. E já temos uma quantidade de entidades que estão interessadas em subscrever e tomar conta da casa. Mas, entretanto, a Câmara não está a priori preparada, porque aquilo foi uma casa facultada à iniciativa de transição pela Câmara. Mas nós, como não queremos a casa para nós queríamos que fosse estabelecido um protocolo com várias entidades. E esse processo burocrático não está concluído ainda. O que é certo é que no terceiro dia da ajudada, que era o dia das mãos, nós tivemos centenas de pessoas a pintar a casa, a caiá-la, a pintar por dentro, a lavar, a arranjar, a fazer mobiliário. Portanto, foi super interessante. A casa está lá. Nós já temos desenvolvido, por exemplo, tivemos o mês passado uma oficina dedicada à economia à escala humana, não sei se já ouviram falar, que são atividades que nós vamos ter inspiradas no espírito da ajudada, que acabam por resultar de todas estas parcerias que foram desenvolvidas durante este tempo, e então esperamos que durante este mês se assine finalmente o protocolo com a Câmara, para termos estas várias associações que participaram na ajudada a desenvolver naquela casa o espírito da economia da data.
Mas não são só associações, qualquer pessoa pode ir. Um indivíduo pode ir com uma ideia, pôr na parede, eu tenho ideia disto que quer fazer comigo. É este género de coisas. E depois cursos e coisas para a cultura, tudo sobre o chapéu para ajudar.
Mais pergunta lá atrás?
I have a question for Denise about the community supported agriculture system that she helped to set up. I see this chicken and egg situation coming up where you either have to have funding very often coming from notoriously unreliable governments that either pay or not pay or require all kinds of restrictions and conditions before you get the money. Or from the public, which restricts you in the amount of money that you can get. And then the whole process of paying people to work on the land, growing food, and at the end of the season you have the possibility to sell. Did you come across innovative ways of financing, of trying to set up this kind of organizations?
That's a very good question. Actually, we started this project with no financing. The project was financed by the consumers. The consumer group met at the beginning of the first season, and we calculated a budget, and we came up with a price that we would need from the consumers to be able to cover our costs of hiring the people, the seeds, the plowing, all of that. So actually, I had no capital to start it with. Of course, some volunteer work was necessary before we had the client meetings. But no, that's why I felt that it was a really accessible model, you know, because it's not dependent on getting a large financing. And the second year, the same. We did have the luck to get some financing for infrastructure, yeah. But many other ASAT partnerships, it takes them longer to develop, but they simply put those costs into the cost of the partnership. We actually have more costs than another partner. So there's advantages and disadvantages. The advantage of being an NGO is that we can attract funding, you know, which doesn't end up costing the consumers because they're not paying for it. But the disadvantage is that we have to hire people to work. You know, it's not just a family doing it with their own family resources. So it actually can make the basket a bit more expensive because we have to pay salary taxes and all of this stuff. And yeah, but basically it is an accessible model for either small individuals or for farmers. That the role of the ASAT organization is to create that link and to, you know, many farmers wouldn't have the possibility to get together a consumer group. So they go to ASAT and then ASAT helps them to find the consumers. And they train the consumers, you could say, in the partnership. They give them something to read, they talk about the principles, and they help keep the whole partnership on track. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mais perguntas?
Hi. Actually, I've got a few statements to make, as well as maybe a question at the end. First of all, in the English translation, when Helder was talking about putting charcoal into the soil, the translation was coal, which is totally incorrect. So really important, don't put coal into your soil. It's charcoal, biochar. Second thing, Philip, you were talking about, or in fact several of you mentioned the link between transition and permaculture. So I just wanted to really quickly just explain why that is, why there is such a strong link. It's because transition came out of a permaculture design course. It was a design on how do we make, because let's face it, on most permaculture courses is what we call beardy weirdies. They're kind of, you know, it's not the most integrated group of people who come to permaculture courses. So the idea is, how do we get this out to real people, the day-to-day, the grannies, everyone in society. So it was a design from a permaculture course that led to transition evolving, and it's so magical. It's really such an amazing thing to see how it's taken its own life and is really touching such a wide variety of people, and yet 100% behind that. And I wanted to say that I would like to invite you to come to the workshop that I'm doing after lunch, because what we're going to look at is we're going to look at intentional communities, but in particular we're going to look at visioning for a transition town. So it would be really lovely if you could get involved in that. And I guess I should say something to Helder as well. Where's my diploma? Okay. Thank you very much.
Não sei se querem comentar. Se não há mais perguntas, que é possível ainda discutir estas questões da parte da tarde e vão ser a todos.
Sim, se possível, voltarmos à hora que está marcada no programa, ou pelo menos não nos tentarmos alargar como houve ontem para não haver os atrasos. Pedimos desculpa pelos atrasos que têm havido.